Anyone that uses braid fishing line will know how important it is to wear a finger stall, as braid is very abrasive and can slick through your fingers quite easily. This is about an £80 braid, and if you can imagine power casting with that, it could quite easily cut through your fingers, especially when you're using braid like I use sometimes, which is roughly about a £20. You can see how thin that is. Imagine if you was distance casting, power casting, what have you, that could very easily cut through your finger. Unlike mono, of course, which is very smooth to the touch, so it's unlikely that you'd need a finger braid using mono. So what type of finger stalls are available on the market? Well, I can tell you now, I've tried many of them, and the ones that fit around your wrist and have a band that goes across the back of your hand, I've tried those and I really don't like them at all. I find them very uncomfortable. Some of them are quite expensive for what they are, and yeah, you can pull the finger part off and leave it attached around your wrist so that your fingers are free for when you're baiting up, and then just slide the finger stall back over again. But to have that flapping around your wrist or just leaving it fitted, it just really is not for me at all. And so eventually I discovered that you can buy just the finger part, which sort of grips your finger. And again, I bought many of these and tried them, and they are quite expensive, and they were absolute rubbish. I like the idea of having them on your finger and it just grips your finger without having all the bandage around your arm, around your wrist or the back of your hand. But the actual finger stalls themselves just didn't last 5 minutes. The braid just cut straight through them. And before you ask, no, you can't use your finger bobs. So, what are the alternatives? Well, I'm going to show you what I've done. So this is my finger stall here that I've used for about 3 years, and it could quite easily go on for another 3 years at least. There's just no cuts or anything in this at all, and yeah, you can see how it's molded to my finger. And what you notice here is I've cut it there so that when my finger bends, it doesn't, you know, it's not right over the top of my knuckle and finding it awkward to bend. It bends quite easily. And also I left a tag. It was just the way that I cut the material to leave a tag on there, for it's just easier for pulling it on. But the most important thing is when you cut these, when you cut your glove, they will start to lose its stitching along the edge. So what I've done there, which you can see, is used a bit of braid. It's about a £18–20 braid on a needle, and then just stitched up just on the edges there. And as I say, this particular one is about 3 years old. I do keep a few spares in my tackle box, but this one I just tend to use over and over and over again. And just to show you that once it's on my finger, it doesn't come off. No matter how hard I try, it won't come off. And all I do is, once I've finished casting, just pop it off, put it in my pocket. When I come to cast again, slip it on. And the beauty about it is lovely soft leather. I can still feel the line through the soft leather, and I just think these are absolutely brilliant. What I found was the best type of gloves to buy are these soft leather. They're called driving gloves, these are. I don't know who'd wear these for driving, but hey ho, each their own. But these are quite cheap to buy. I think these are about £6 a pair, something like that. I think I've even found them even cheaper than that. And you know, you can use a thumb, but the thumb is a little bit loose for me, so I don't tend to use the thumb. But all the fingers here, each one is slightly different in size, obviously, but I found that they all work. So yeah, just try them. And as I say, they're super soft leather. And what I've done here, or in the past, is bought a size glove one size down to what I would normally have, to make sure that the fingers are quite tight, you know, they grip your finger quite nicely. And once you wear them in, this soft leather, as you've seen with my sample one that I've used for about 3 years now, they tend to mould to your finger. You can see where the creases are. And I don't know, I've never actually done this, but I think once you've cut one, you could actually soak it in water and fit it on your finger and just leave it on there, let it dry. It should shrink to fit to your finger, but I've not done that. It's not necessary, and like I say, I've not tried it, but it might work if you find that it's a little bit too big. You know, it comes off your finger, but mine definitely doesn't, no matter what I do with like that, no matter how hard I try. So with mine then, for example, you take the first finger here and try and get it as close to the joint as possible, so that when you cut it as, you know, so that you've got as much length on there as possible. And then if you look at mine, if I line it up there, what I've done with mine, so I've cut it right across as close as I can, but then once it's cut, I've cut a little bit, measured it where my knuckle is on my finger, and just cut that bit a little bit shorter, so it's that shape. As I showed you earlier, it just gives me that little bit of a tag for when I put it on my finger, just to make sure that it's on there properly. And there you go. So yeah, cheap pair of what they call driving gloves, but I suppose it could be any sort of glove as long as it's soft leather. And mine are unlined, so there's no lining inside there at all. It is just the leather glove. But yeah, these are really nice and soft, so you can feel the line coming through very easily. They're great, absolutely brilliant. And as I say, very, very cheap. A little bit of braid cotton to stitch the edges up so that they don't come apart, and you're good to go for years. The best finger stall there is.